Welcome, comrade. Come with me. I have much to tell you in very little time. Now that we're completely alone, let me explain to you what this is really about. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Now before I move on, I'd like to explain something very simple to you. We are already dead, and there's nothing we can change. Now that we have that out of the way, we can move on. Now, I'd like to ask you a very simple question. Questions. What are you prepared to do for the Brotherhood? Are you prepared to lose your life? Are you prepared to commit suicide when we tell you to? Are you prepared to lose everything and everyone that you love? Are you prepared to do things that you may not want to do and may not know why? Are you prepared to do things that we tell you to do on command without resistance? Now, you must know that we don't help our members at all. You don't even know who's in the Brotherhood. You may know 5 people at a time, maximum. But that's how we do things. If you accept these conditions, continue watching the video. If you don't, continue living under the illusion that everything is okay.
Hello, fellow people. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Today we will be teaching you about war. So let's make you understand war. So the 3 most important superstates that were in this war were
Oceania, Eurasia, and East Asia.
This wasn't like any other war because they didn't struggle with
Markets, raw materials, or consumption goods.
No, they did this all for power and dominance. But each country was incapable of conquering the other because they all shared equal power and had strong defense.
For defense, Eurasia had vast land space. Oceania had the width of the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean, and East Asia had the vicinity and industriousness of its people.
War is utterly unnecessary because they are no threat to each other since they all share equal power.
And now the party uses modern warfare.
The party uses modern warfare to use up the products of the machine without having to raise the general standard of living, which my other comrade will explain to you.
Now, if you're still watching the video, I'd like to explain a couple things to you about the party that rules us. The party can't allow the public to have a higher living standards because it threatens them. If they allow people like the proles to become literate and think for themselves, then the proles will overthrow the government. And that's exactly why they want to keep us in the dark. Now, the question you might be asking is, why can't the masses be kept in poverty by restricting the output of goods? And I have the answer. If they kept the masses in poverty, then the economy of the country would stop developing, land would go out of cultivation, capital equipment would not be added to, blocks of population would be kept half alive and would not work, and the militaries would be considered weak. This made rebellion inevitable. Another question you may be asking is, what does the superstate being at war and being in danger do for the ruling class? The atmosphere of being at war and danger makes handing over all the power to a small caste seem natural and an unavoidable condition of life. Another question you may ask is, why not use the surplus labor to dig holes and refill them or build temples? This would provide only economic foundation needed for the hierarchy of society that the party would want to gain. The party expects their members to be intelligent, competent, obedient, ignorant, and war fanatics who are driven by fear, hatred, and surrounded in a war atmosphere. Let me explain something to you about the inner party. The inner party uses doublethink more than the proles. They use this because they are more intelligent and they question more things. And that is why doublethink is necessary to keep them in control. They understand that the war is being fought for a different purpose and isn't 100% truthful. This is why they use doublethink This is why the party used to double think on them, to keep those ideas to a minimum. Science, a term we don't use anymore. But we still have scientists. Scientists are only trying to advance the military, and no other reason. There are chemists, biologists, physicists, who only create weapons to take lives. And we have other types of scientists. We have scientists who create drugs, shock therapy, hypnosis, physical torture. This is all used for the benefit of the party. The thought police are coming. I gotta go. But now that you know this information, you are also already dead. Good luck, comrade. Down with Big Brother and the party.
What are you doing to my copy of Goldstein's book? Whatever. I'm part of the Brotherhood, and I'm here to help you out. So, you know that phrase, war is peace? Well, not only is it a bunch of bogus, but I'm here to explain some of it. So, you know the superstates and how they don't do a surprise attack. We're always just in a landlock or not fighting. It's so that we don't have a nuclear war, okay? Keep it nice and simple. We don't drop bombs on each other. Oop, I fixed my wizard hat, my bad. I'm the Grand Wizard, by the way. We don't drop the bombs so we don't end society as we know it. And we don't conquer each other either, because we'd have to kill everyone in that society. You know, that's not nice at all. We'd have to assimilate the whole population. That's just a lot of work. A lot of work. Okay? And if we all mingled together, I mean, that would just, like, stop the pyramidal structure of our society, and it just could cause cause a fallout, all right? And I'm not about that, or no one's about that. And every superstate has the same philosophies, just under different names. Like we have Ingsoc, Eurasia has Neo-Bolshevism, East Asia has the obliteration of the self. I mean, it's the same thing, just a new name. If the superstates are separate universes, well, they get control of their people by feeding them, giving them shelter, giving people whatever they need, but then they create the society they want to create. And then for the society to stay intact, they keep the proles on the bottom, the very, very bottom, all right? And they make sure they're uneducated, don't give them anything. And that makes sure that they don't realize that what's being done to them is wrong. And they don't rise up against everyone else. And so if the poor and restricted are instead poor and restricted at the bottom, and the war helps do that, by like, oh, we're at the bottom, not much we can do, there's a war, it's okay, everything works out. So that's part one. Part two coming soon. This post gets 1 million likes, we'll post part two.
Let us move on to the second lesson of the Brotherhood.
Ignorance is strength. This lesson goes back to the Neolithic age. There's always been 3 groups in our world: the high, the middle, and the low.
All groups had different aims they wanted to achieve. The high wanted to remain the same, the middle wanted to change places with the high, and the low wanted to create a society where all men are equal. The high always achieved their goals. The middle temporarily achieved their goals by manipulating the low and pretending they were fighting for liberty and justice, and the low never achieved their goals.
A new tyranny was created, and the theory of socialism was also created. Socialism was the distribution of goods and services distributed responsibly by a group of people.
As time went on, liberty and equality became more and more abandoned.
But with the development of machine production, equality could have been achieved.
It was necessary for humans to work, but it wasn't necessary for them to live in different social statuses.
Totalitarianism emerged in the earlier century from chaos like wars and revolutions. The aristocrats were made up of the middle class and the upper grades of the lower class, like scientists, professional politicians, and technicians. They became less avaricious, hungrier for power and luxury, but they were cautious of what they were doing.
Unlike them, the past tyrannies were different. They failed due to the extent of liberal ideas, being content with leaving loose ends, and not being interested in the subjects the people were thinking.
A new idea came into play, called collectivism.
Collectivism was a way to secure oligarchy, and it gave the concentration of property to the new owners, which was a group of people instead of mass of individuals.
The party took control of this ideology by owning and controlling everything in Oceania and disposing everything that didn't fit.
That is all I have to teach you for today. You shall learn more from my other comrades.
Hello, comrades. Today I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so please excuse the sniffles. Today I'm going to teach you about the Brotherhood and things that the party does not want you to know. There are 4 ways a government can fail. They can be conquered from within, or it can govern itself so inefficiently that it stirred a rebellion or revolt. It allows a strong and discontented middle group to come into being, or it loses its own self-conscious and willingness to govern. The classes go in order from top to bottom. Big Brother's at the top and has complete control and is responsible for everything good in their society. The inner party comes next, with 6 million people, which is less than 2% of the population. The inner party enjoys privileges and quality goods that other people do not have access to. Under the inner party comes the outer party. Outer party comes the proles, who have the least, but make up 85% of the population. This pyramid is a good representation of the social classes today, the yellow being the inner party, the blue being the outer party, and the red being the proles. People are labeled in each group by an examination at the age of 16. There's no bias against a certain culture, and there's no way to inherit your way into a certain party. Although the proles make up 85% of the population, the party does not fear them. The parties know that they can leave the proles because all they'll do is reproduce and work their entire lives and not question anything. There are no laws in Oceania. Technically, everything is legal. However, they do have thought crimes. A thought crime is when you think or do anything that is against the party or its ideas. They kill people who might commit thought crime in the future to prevent it. And finally, Crime Stop. Crime Stop is a newspeak word that the party created to make it impossible to commit thought crime. They do this by limiting the ways they can commit a thought crime by destroying words that could lead to deeper thinking.
Ha ha, hey, oh. Ha ha ha, hey. What's up? It's your boy from the Brotherhood. Part 2, because you guys like the last one so much. I'm talking about ignorance is strength. Hate this chapter, by the way. Just saying, it's a lot. And I'm going to answer some commonly asked questions. Why must the past be altered? That's, like, number 1, okay? And the reason the past has to be altered is so that society believes in the party statements. So, like, everything makes sense. No one's like, I don't know about that one, cuz. Nope. Everyone's in belief. Like, black, white, alright? That one's a common one. Number 2, doublethink. I hate doublethink, personally. But it's the continuous alteration of the past, which is made possible by the thought process of the party. I can't even explain. That's pretty self-explanatory as is. Number 3, the proletarian uses doublethink the most. And they think they have it better off than their ancestors, but they don't, because they don't really know anything. No one really knows anything. Doublethink is conscious and unconscious because of the way the party's made it. And it allows people to reflect on the past, but also have the inability to see, like, the past events that happened. Doublethink is a doublethink because people who invented the word, they know too much, which makes them a little bit cuckoo up top. And lastly, you're like, well, the ministries, those must be doublethings. You're right. Kudos to you. Ministry of love is for torture. Ministry of truth is for lies. Ministry of peace, war. We're going to be fighting. And Ministry of plenty is for starvation. Part 3, if this gets 2 million likes, and I best not catch you snooping around near me, alright? Cut you off. Peace.